It's time to chill out and get ready for a mediocre Q&A live stream. If you're old enough, grab yourself your favorite adult beverage, and if you're not, stick with apple juice. Put your feet up and relax. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And now let's cue up the intro music. Hello, welcome to the HVACR videos live stream. Hopefully you don't have high expectations because it's just me sitting here talking about gibberish, I guess you can say that. I hope that you and your family had a very happy holidays, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I think that just started today, but I hope that you enjoy the season. Merry Christmas to those that do celebrate. Happy New Year. We got the New Year's coming this week, and I'm hoping to feel better in the new year. I have to say that I am still kind of on a high from the little video that I did where I gave a bunch of people tools. That definitely made me feel really good. So my family and I celebrate Christmas, and we had a great time. It was my immediate family. We did go and see my father. And I got to see my brother. He just got back from Iraq. He's been over there for about a year and a half, 2 years now. So he just got home, and so he came and spent Christmas Day with me. So that was really cool to see my brother. It's been a while. And just to spend the day with family and enjoy the company of family and have a good time. So it was definitely a nice time. Hello to everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you guys making it in here. Definitely want to get to your guys' questions as usual. Please, if you do have questions, put your questions in caps lock, and I will try to get to them. Understand that, I can't get to everything. So if I miss your question, feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. So we tend to have some new people in here. It looks like a night where we might have some new viewers, judging from the viewers that are in right now. I do these live streams Monday evenings, same time every week, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it's simply just to answer the questions that I get from my videos. I get quite a few questions from the videos when I post them, and then I get emails and Facebook comments, and just to be able to pay attention to my family, I find myself doing these on Mondays to try to dedicate this time to answer questions that I can get to. So again, thank you guys so very much for the support. I have to say, and I kind of mentioned it in my recent video, but it has been, we're just past 3 years of making these videos, and I have to say thank you guys so very much to you. Those of you that are subscribed, that watch, it's really cool. It's very humbling to see the feedback and everything from you guys, so thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. So All right, so I definitely will thank my brother. I'll let you guys, or I'll let him know that you guys said thank you. Ryan Tanner, thank you so very much for becoming a channel supporter, bud. Definitely helps. Thank you, thank you. All right, let me see. I got some questions in here. Have I used the push lock fittings yet from Zoom Lock, Sporland's Zoom Lock push to connect fittings? No, I have not used the push lock fittings yet. Sporland is back in another product called the Zoom Lock push to connect fitting. I have a very special use for when I get the opportunity. I have some 1/4-inch ones, and I have an idea where they're going to work perfectly, working on an R290 system. When I do it, I was actually just looking at them because I have a set of the 1/4-inch ones in my van. When I get the opportunity, I'll definitely film it one way or another and try to get it out so everybody can see. But, you know, that brings up a good point, and I want to cover something. I don't know if I have it on my list of things to talk about. I don't think I do, but... You know, I've been seeing a lot of feedback on the internet, you know, from different people posting different things, whether it be from Sporland posting about the Zoom Lock Max or the Zoom Lock Push to Connect, or other manufacturers posting about new products that are out there. So I'm the type of person that would rather not say anything if I don't have anything nice to say at all. Of course, I'm okay with criticism and feedback. That's fine. But I see people attacking manufacturers and consumers because of a product that maybe they're afraid of, maybe they don't understand, or maybe is a bad product. But either way, just remember that, you know, some people were afraid of the silliest things. You know, some people were afraid of the simplest invention, digital gauges. I mean, you know, oh my gosh, those are dumbing down the industry. They're taking away from the skill and all that stuff. They don't, okay? You know, the Sporland Zoom Lock Max, I've used it one time on a job, and honestly, it wasn't like it was lightning, you know, speed faster than doing it when I was brazing. It's just another tool to have in your arsenal to use in a situation that you feel it necessary, okay? Push to connect, certainly. You know, when I first saw those come out, before Sporland backed them, other manufacturers have backed them too. And when I first saw them come out, I kind of questioned, you know, I don't know. But, you know, there's a time and place for all these products that are out there. Heck, there's even a time and place for some of these additives and sealants that I really am not a fan of, right? But there's a place for them, okay? Some people choose to use them, and good for them if they choose to do so. So thank you very much for that super chat, Dave G. I really, really appreciate that, bud. Thank you. So had a couple videos this last week. I had the video that I kept, you know, talking about all week was my secret, super top secret Christmas Eve video. So it really did start, okay, and if you haven't already watched it, you guys definitely need to go check it out. Ironically, that video has the lowest views pretty much of all my videos for this entire year. And I find that interesting because it must have been that I didn't use a clickbait title, because I'm not a fan of like the clickbaity stuff to get people to watch things. Like, I just gave it a basic title. I didn't want people to come diving into it. And that's also part of the reason in that video why I didn't do a traditional giveaway where you know, announce it before and everybody has an opportunity to enter. I wanted it to be genuine people that just simply answered a question, okay? It wasn't something that I wanted people to compete for. I wasn't trying to get views or subscribers from it or anything like that. I was genuinely just trying to give back, okay? So I lost my train of thought of where I was going with that, but anyways, I'll go ahead and keep on going with something else. So I made that video, and I picked 13 people, okay? And I kind of covered it in the video too, but I picked 13 people that the requests that they had were, you know, basically they just, I don't know. I don't even know why I picked them. I was just going through and I just picked the names. You know, there's really no rhyme or reason as to who I picked. I do have to say though, I have communicated with everybody but one person, and it's very interesting. David Gabrielson. He needs to contact me. I don't know if you watch my live streams. I don't know if anybody knows David Gabrielson. He answered my question, I believe, on the post that I put in the HVAC school Facebook group, okay, asking what someone would ask for Christmas. And David Gabrielson asked for a true blue combustion, a blue flame combustion analyzer. And I'm going to send it to him, but he needs to answer my my Facebook messages that I'm sending him. That's the only way that I have to communicate with him, and I can tell that he hasn't even seen them. So you need to answer my thing, David, so I can send you that tool, okay? Because I'm sure there's a lot of other people that would love to have that combustion analyzer, and I'm definitely going to give you the opportunity to communicate back with me. So But yeah, there really was no intention with that video. I just simply made a video because I wanted to give something back. I thought it was a really cool thing to do. So let me see what I'm looking inside here. Yeah, definitely. So behind me, that sign, I know it's kind of hard to see because of the glare. I will get some lights to light it up, but that was given to me and sent to me. There was an idea, and between my buddy Ike and my buddy Rich. Rich made the sign, and Ike just kind of helped with the design, and I believe he had something to do with the idea. But they made a sign for me that says HVACR videos, and it has my catchphrase, Big Picture Diagnoses. And on the bottom of it, says 100,000 subscribers. So their idea was that they were hoping that I would have something cooler than the silver play button that eventually I will get when I hit the 100,000 mark. So I am slightly shy from the 100,000 subscriber mark. I think I'm at like 2,000 subs away or something like that. I predict we'll hit that in the next month or two. So, but it was definitely an awesome gift. It's a beautiful sign made out of stainless steel. It's very, very nice. So once I get some lights up, it'll definitely pop a little bit better too. So, but thank you guys so very much. That was really cool of you to send that to me. So let me see what else we got in here. What am I missing? Yeah, definitely smash the thumbs up button, guys. It really does help. I do have to say that I was very interested in, you know, almost all of the comments that came in from the video, the Christmas, the Christmas wish list video that I titled it, were really, really cool. But I have to say there was like 3 of them that were negative comments. And, you know, something that we have to understand is this world that we live in is not 100% fair. Not everybody gets a trophy. And I realize that sometimes some people get the short end of the stick, but you know, I've gone through a lot of bad stuff in my life. I'm not going to get into this in this, okay? But I've gone through a lot of bad stuff in my life, some pretty nasty stuff. And, you know, but I try to look past that and move on. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the perfect person in the world, but for some people out there, you know, the only thing I can say is that I feel bad that some people live their lives with a victim mentality. And that's such a bummer because I genuinely do feel bad for people that have a victim mentality. You know, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens in life, but in my opinion, you just need to look past and try to be a good person and try to look at the good things in life. So that's all I'm going to cover on that one. So the next video that I had was the walk-in freezer is too warm. So on that video, that was actually an older video because I'm definitely very slow at work right now. So I'm kind of, you know, scrounging through some archive footage and found a video that I hadn't edited yet. That was from a couple months ago, back when it was still warm outside. And that was an interesting walk-in freezer service call because I went up to it and, you know, as you're walking up to a walk-in freezer condenser or any condenser for that matter, any piece of equipment, you know, you're paying attention. You're looking at the vital signs. You're looking at the condenser. You're listening to the sounds. You're feeling the heat, that kind of stuff. And I walked up, and as I glanced past the condenser, it looked clean, you know, so I really didn't think anything of it. Went over and found that the unit was shutting on and off on high head pressure. But I was a little bit perplexed because the condenser didn't look that dirty. And even when I washed the condenser, like, you know, there wasn't like some satisfying, oh my gosh, there's all the filth that came out of it. But it was interesting because after I did clean the condenser, you could clearly see through the condenser from the same camera angle that I showed before, just looking at the condenser fan blades. So just because it looks like it's clean does not mean it's clean. And I've even had to have this conversation with some service techs before when they're on a service call. When I call them and they say, and I ask them, you know, what's going on? And they say, oh, da 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 da. And I ask them, is the condenser clean? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Pretty good doesn't work for me. There's either clean or there's not clean. So you got to get in there. And even if it looks clean, doesn't mean it's clean. We have it happen quite often in restaurants where we'll put filter medias on condensers and people will pull a filter media off and it looks shiny, so they won't think anything of it. And then we get a call back a couple weeks later with a shiny brand new filter media filter on there and the condenser's plugged up, but it's not on the surface. It's all inside of it. So you really have to look at the big picture, look past the obvious of the shiny surface, okay? Because it can be dirty on the inside too. What happens if the person behind you just brushed off the lint, but there's still a bunch of crap built up inside of it? So always dig into that stuff to try to prevent things, you know, callbacks and headaches and different stuff like that. So in my situation, I was able to clean the condenser and the unit actually came down to temperature pretty fast after that. So Let me see what else we got in here. What am I missing? What happened on the Saturday service call, and can I expect a video soon? So on Saturday evening, I was supposed to be on the HVAC overtime show, and I got a service call late in the evening to where I wasn't going to be able to be in my studio or office for the overtime show. So while I was on site of the service call, I went ahead and clicked on my phone and went live on the overtime show and showed a few things. So I had a service call on a walk-in freezer not working. And when I got there, I ended up finding that the unit had a bad compressor after I went through a bunch of problems and fixed a bunch of little things. So there will be a video soon. I am not completely done with the repair. I'm not going to give all the details as to what's going on, but I will say that it did have a bad compressor. And yeah, well, I plan on filming a video on that one, so it should be coming up soon. So it's definitely an interesting one, and it's not something that usually happens to me. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So let me see what else we got inside the chat right now. Let me see. What do we got? My voice should be the audiobook for the Dick Wurs book. I don't have the patience to be a narrator for a book. I could not do it. I would go crazy. But I will say that I think that would be an extremely smart idea if someone were to put their... I'm giving you an idea right now that you're probably going to make a bunch of money from, okay? But someone needs to narrate some HVAC books, okay? In a voice that's not completely monotone that makes you fall asleep, because I would listen to an HVAC book podcast when I'm driving down the road, like each chapter being an episode or something like that. That would be a really smart idea. So someone needs to do it. Go out there, take my idea, and run with it, because that would benefit the HVAC industry tremendously, having an audiobook form of an HVAC book, especially commercial refrigeration for air conditioning technicians by Dick Wurs. That would be a very smart idea to do that in an audiobook format. Peter Smart, holy moly, bud. Thank you so very much for that super chat. That is amazing. You guys, these super chats, they're very, very awesome. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. You do not certainly need to do that, but thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Peter Smart, oh my goodness. Thank you, bud. That is awesome. And yeah, that is just amazing. And Dave G, again, thank you so much for your super chat too, you guys. Very cool. All right, let me see what else we got in here. Yeah, man, I'm dumbfounded by that. That's an awesome super chat, Peter. Thank you very much. Curious HVAC guy narrating a book. See, but the thing about Curious HVAC guy is if Bill's going to narrate a book, it needs to be visual too. We need to be able to see Bill react, and I want to see Bill read some children's books too. So I want to see him read some children's books, and I want to see him react in different ways with facial expressions and that big scary beard. I think that'd be pretty funny. So, can I still buy R404A in the United States? And if I can, is it expensive? It is not expensive right now. Yes, I still can buy R404A. So in the state of California, we are slowly starting the phase out of R404A. We can still buy it. It's still cheaper than most of the replacement gases for 404A. We can still buy 404A equipment. Technically, we're not supposed to use it on new installations and retrofit, like compressor replacements, expansion valve replacements, condenser replacements, that kind of stuff. You're supposed to convert the refrigerant over to a lower GWP refrigerant, a refrigerant that has less global warming potential, essentially. So why do many... that's a great question, Greg, and I have that on my list of things to talk about. So let's see. Why do many three-phase systems use single-phase fan motors? So I actually have that on my list right now. So what Greg is asking is, if we have a three-phase package unit, let's just say we have a Carrier 10-ton package unit. It takes 208 volts three-phase. Why is it that they have 208 single-phase condenser fan motors on the unit? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and kind of give my opinion on this. Of course, we would have to talk to Carrier Engineering to figure out exactly what their thoughts are. But I will tell you right now that single-phase motors are much more readily available. Okay, they're cheaper to produce, I would imagine. And it's very common to have single-phase equipment on there. I am certain that if they put three-phase on there, it would certainly be more efficient, because the current draw would likely go down. It would be spread across the three phases. So I would have to go out on a limb and say it's just a matter of cost. There is some three-phase equipment out there, even Carrier package units, that do have three-phase condenser fan motors. And I predict that you're going to see more and more of those in the future. if not ECM condenser fan motors, so that way they can slow them down and speed them up instead of doing fan cycling. Because with the push for higher efficiency equipment out there, having a 3-phase condenser fan motor with an inverter drive on it to be able to slow it down and speed it up to, you know, compensate for possibly a inverter driven compressor that slows down and speeds up, and or for head pressure control, I think is going to be very common in the future. Everything that we're doing is about efficiency these days. So my opinion is on the single phase motors on the 3-phase equipment is just a matter of cost and what they can stamp out of the assembly line faster and faster. So hopefully that answers that. Let's see what else we got in here. So all right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and get to my list of things. So Jonathan asked a really good question in the chat. In my email. Okay, Jonathan sent me an email and he said, hey, he is going to trade school right now and he's about to start applying for business or for a job. And he's curious what kind of questions he might be asked while at his first job interview. Okay, so first and foremost, let's understand that most interviews are simply there to gauge what your personality is. Sometimes they may do a mechanical aptitude test, just a general aptitude test. It's more or less going to be a few basic questions just to judge what kind of skills you have. Okay. But majority of the time, people are going to be asking you personal questions about, you know, how things happen. They want to try to gauge how you would handle certain situations. The way that I want to approach a job interview myself. Now, understand too, every job interview is going to be a little bit different. I am not an expert when it comes to this, but my job interviews typically are more like a conversation. I just want to get to know the person. You know, what do they think of this situation? Where are they from? That kind of stuff. Just explaining expectations of the company. Other companies, like I said, they may give you a mechanical aptitude test. They may give you some like Freudian tests that like ask you weird questions that judge your character and different things like that. Essentially, they're trying to get a snapshot of your personality and your work ethic so that way they can more than likely advance you to the next interview level, which might be some sort of a mechanical test or some sort of ride along or something like that. So hopefully that answers your question for you, bud. Let me see what else we got in this chat right now. See what I'm missing. Get up here to the question. Your dad worked at Regal Below for, I don't know if that's how you say that, management for 25 years. Single phase, much cheaper to produce. You asked that same question. Right on, Patrick. So that's kind of my thought with that one, is just much cheaper to produce. Interestingly enough, the 3-phase is longer or is cheaper in the long run, except for if you have replacements, because replacement motors can be a little bit more expensive on the 3-phase side. At least what we pay for them is more expensive. So let me see. Yep, same reason. 3-phase systems contain 2-pole contactors. It's all about the pennies, man, trying to save the money. With R290, do I take the valve off the can afterwards? Worked on it for your first time today. Brent Hall, yeah. All of the R290 cans that I have worked with have a quick seal fitting on the top, so when you pull the valve off, it's not going to vent the refrigerant out everywhere. But definitely check the refrigerant that you're working with. I would imagine it would be the same, but you definitely want to look into that, okay? But on my cans, when I take the valve off the top, yes, the refrigerant stays in the can. There's a little rubber grommet in there or something like that that seals off the refrigerant that allows it not to leak out. So let me see what else. What are the causes of evaporators turning into ice blocks? Well, it's all about airflow, Molly. So an evaporator, think about what an evaporator does. An evaporator absorbs heat from the system, okay? It's moving the heat from one place to another. So it's taking the heat from in the conditioned space, or the space that the evaporator's in, right? And it's moving it to the condenser, essentially. So with that being said, an evaporator's critical component is the airflow across it. If it doesn't have proper airflow, okay, then what's going to happen is the evaporator is going to continue to chill, and eventually frost is going to build up, and the frost will turn into ice, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it all has to do with airflow. Now, how does a freeze up start? Well, if there's too much humidity and moisture in the box and the evaporator is very cold, then you're going to start to get condensation and frost on the evaporator. And once that starts, it continues to build. So if you have a walk-in cooler or a walk-in freezer and you prop the door open and there's hot, humid air coming inside the box, that hot, humid air is going to be attracted to the evaporator and it's going to turn into ice droplets and then slowly compound from there. So typically it starts because someone leaves a door open, hot, warm, humid air gets inside there, is attracted to the evaporator, the ice process starts. But also if you have a dirty evaporator, that can also cause a freeze up, and or plugged up filters or low airflow going across the evaporator is going to cause ice buildup situations. Okay, understand something, that an evaporator is there to absorb the heat, and depending on what you're working on, if it's an air conditioner, you're going to maintain 38 to 45 degree coil temperature, okay? But if you're getting on low temp, you're going to drop a lot colder than that. You might get to a 20 degree evaporator temperature, or you might get to a negative 20 degree evaporator temperature for a walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer. With that being said, you have a lot of need for a defrost in that situation, so keep that in mind, okay? All right, let me see what else we got in here. Thoughts on Tesla possibly making HVAC equipment? Yeah, there's definitely a lot of talk in social media and the news and the media and different stuff like that about Tesla coming out with a, industry disrupting HVAC system. Oh, excuse me, you guys are boring me. I'm falling asleep over here. No, but Tesla is, talking about coming out with something. Elon Musk has got a trick up his sleeve. It'll be interesting what they have to come up with. I, for one, would welcome something new in the industry. I know there's a lot of interesting technology that has been around for a very long time that, we haven't used or advanced any further because maybe it was too expensive to produce the parts, or the technology was very difficult to understand. So I'm kind of curious if Elon Musk is just going to build on an existing platform or idea, or if he's got some revolutionary idea that he's got brains figuring out. I don't know. I'd be interested, but I'm intrigued by it for sure. So let me see what else. What am I missing? Did I have any emergency calls over the holidays, or did I get to spend time with my family? I spent time with my family for sure. I had one emergency call yesterday. Yeah, that was the only emergency call I had over the weekend. Or no, Saturday. Saturday I had an emergency call, and it was a walk-in freezer that had a bad compressor. But I did not spend any more time other than that call. So let me see what else. Am I required to have a master license in California? No, in California you're not required to have a master license. You just have to carry an EPA certification saying you know how to handle refrigerants. You can be a technician working for another contractor all day long. Now, if you want to be a contractor and start your own business, you have to have a contractor's license which does have a few stipulations of being in the industry for so much time, that kind of stuff. But to be a general HVAC service technician, no, you do not have to have a master license at all. I kind of think we should, but that's a whole nother topic. Let me see what else we got in here. Matt Ronig, you said sorry to bother me. I don't know where you're going with that one, bud. Let me see what else we got in here. You were scared to take the valve off. I mean, just take it off, pop it off and see what happens, Brent. It probably isn't that big of a deal. So all right. All right. Okay. On my list of things to talk about too, Joseph is in school and he wanted to know if there was a range of superheat that he should always look for. Okay. So we need to understand something. He was kind of talking subcooling too. Okay. There are rules of thumb in our industry. Okay. Sometimes we look at those rules of thumb and they can guide us a little bit. Let me see what this is for. That's for tomorrow. Service call coming in right now. What's this service call? It's not for tonight. Bringing it up on my phone. I don't know why I'm doing that. And I'm distracting you guys. I can't even see what the service call is. I think it says it's for tomorrow. Yeah, it does. Okay, let's see. What is this service call? So we get email service calls, and it says we have a leak that is coming from the roof of our walk-in refrigerator. Okay, it's been pouring rain all day. These service calls drive me nuts. Okay, I'll definitely go out there. But it's pouring rain outside. Do you really think the leak is coming from your walk-in cooler roof? No, it's coming from outside. Fix the outside roof leak that's dripping on top of the walk-in cooler. But hey, we'll go out there and we'll hand them a bill to tell them to call a roofer. It's exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow. As far as what range of superheat and subcooling should a new person look for? So this guy's in school, Joseph, and he just kind of wants an idea. So we need to understand first and foremost, what is superheat, okay? The easiest way to explain superheat, there's more to it. It's a performance evaluation of the evaporator, okay? That's the easiest way to understand it, okay? There's a lot more to it. And what is subcooling? It's a performance evaluation of the condenser, okay? It's a measurement of essentially performance of the condenser. Okay, so is there an exact range that we need to look for on all different types of equipment? There is rules of thumb depending on what you're working on, but you have to understand that each manufacturer out there designs their equipment differently, especially when it comes to new energy efficiency stuff. So you always need to lean on the manufacturer of the equipment. Also, superheat is not just an exact number. The system has to be within a certain variable or certain temperature range. Okay. So if you have a comfort cooling air conditioner on a residential system and you just turned it on and it's 110 degrees in the house and it's 110 degrees outside and you just turned on the air conditioner, you need to give it time to stabilize out before you start checking the vital signs. The same thing goes for refrigeration systems too. Okay. So you need to lean on the manufacturer. You need to ask them how they're setting up their system and how it was designed. You also need to pay attention to, and here goes the Coke nose, but you also need to pay attention to, does the system have ductwork issues and things like that, okay? I know this seems confusing, but it will come to you eventually. Don't focus on the superheat number as much as you need to focus on the proper operation of the system. Looking at your evaporator temperature, looking at your condensing temperature, understanding, okay, you know what, the evaporator TD is really, really high. Something's not right here. That kind of stuff, okay? Look at airflow, and the superheat and the subcooling numbers will fall into play once you've made sure that you have proper airflow, proper compression ratio, and your coils are all cleaned, okay? So feel free to send me an email, ask me more questions about that, bud. I just saw a super chat come through again. Joshua Sweet, thank you so very much, bud. That's an amazing, amazing super chat. Thank you, bud. So you're saying Tesla's been saying that they will design a stackable AC system. A 5-ton AC will be 10-ton, 10.5, or whatever size, one size fits all. That's an interesting concept. Again, we'll see. We'll see it when it comes, what's actually going to happen. So, all right. I don't know why right now, but I have just this need to yawn for some reason. Answered that one. I already answered that one. So, I already answered that one. So definitely. Okay. So, 208 volts, something that I wanted to cover. I'm looking at my list of things to talk about here. So oftentimes in my videos, I'm always talking about 208 volt systems, okay? And this is something that I need to address because I addressed it in my recent video, and I get called out for this all the time, and there's truth in the matter. When I walk up to a system, I'll measure voltage, and let's say I measure 214 volts, but then I say, okay, we have 208 volt power. And then I'll measure 215 volts on the other leg, and I'll say we have 208 volt power. It's just a general term when we're talking about proper power. So here in the United States, you have a 208 volt system, you have a 240 volt system, you have a 120 volt system, okay? So even if you're measuring a little bit higher, a little bit lower, just in general terms, and you have 480 volt systems, things like that. But just in general terms, we're going to say we have proper power. So I definitely need to make a better effort in my videos of reciting the proper power, so that way, because again, sometimes I'm thinking things in my head and I'm just verbally saying, okay, we got 208 volt power when we have 196 volts. Okay, we're definitely low or something like that. So it's just a mistake that I made when I'm talking, basically. So HVAC, Master of Everything, got a blue on ad. That's interesting. Any live service calls videos coming up? No, I can't predict the live service call videos. They just come in when they come in. What was the smallest walk-in freezer I've worked on? I mean, just a general walk-in, probably 4 foot deep by 6 foot tall by 4 foot wide. Just, a small, just barely enough to walk in and hang a coil. That's probably the smallest I've worked on. All right. Which is better, the 3 or 4 manifold setup? Okay, so when you're dealing with the Fieldpiece manifolds, the S-Man 380 or the S-Man 480, which one's better? It really depends on what you're going to use it for. They're both the same manifolds. They both have a micron gauge in them. One just has a 4th port, which technically is supposed to be for evacuations. Whether or not you're going to use that 4th port for evacuation is up to you. I don't use mine very often, but I do have a 4-port manifold. Excuse me. I have a 4-port manifold, but I rarely ever put the 3/8 vacuum hose on it. I usually don't use my manifold for evacuations. Occasionally I will, but if you're not going to be using your manifold for evacuations, just get the S-Man 380 and call it a day. So Let me see. On 480 volt systems, are the condenser fan motors typically single phase also? You know, it just depends. I have seen single phase 480 volt condenser fan motors, yes. But, you know, I've also seen 483 phase. So it really depends on the manufacturer, you know, and what they want to do. I would have to say they're probably normally 480 volt single phase for the condenser fan motors. Again, it's all about, but it's the systems that I work on. I work on Carrier, Lennox, York, and Train. So a lot of those guys, they're going to have single phase motors on the condensers. So let me see what else. What do we got going on in here? I already answered that one. Let me see. Let me get to my list in here. I already answered that one. For the people that I did mention in my Christmas video, except for the one guy that hasn't answered my email yet, David Gabrielson, I sent out the emails to all my partners. So 3 of you are getting products from Fieldpiece Direct, and then the other 10 of you are getting products from TrueTech Tools. So I did send the emails today, and I'm sure they'll get my email tomorrow and start going through it and sending out the products to you guys. So I'd say within the next week and a half or so, you should start receiving the products that I sent you guys. So again, thank you guys very much. Philip, thank you so much for that super chat, bud. That's an amazing super chat, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you. All right. Here, you only have to be licensed plumber. Never seen a house burn down from faulty plumbing. Peter Smart. Yeah, that's very interesting. But I mean, you know, I don't know. I see both sides about licensing and different things like that. You know, I get the argument about less government. I get the argument about more government. I see it all. I really think that contractors should have to be licensed all the way around, and technicians need to be licensed too, because I think it's really important. I think we need to have better quality contractors out there and technicians. But at the same time, the way that we work in our society, everybody kind of gets a trophy. And, you know, I'm sure that someone will say that there's some kind of discrimination or something because someone can't get a license. So I don't know. Let's not get political, but that's a whole mess to think about. What is the highest pressure I've ever seen the systems I work on? 410A systems, I've seen like 550 PSI. I don't work on any CO2, so just on a 410A system in the middle of the summer. Let me see what else. What's my opinion about heat pumps and troubleshooting? Mysticism official. Heat pumps. I mean, I work on a few of them. I don't work on them quite often here in California because our energy is so expensive here. So we typically have gas heat for our heating. But, you know, a heat pump, the biggest mysticism and mystery to a heat pump is just that the reverse flow of refrigerant during the heating cycle. Okay. So basically on a heat pump, you have your outdoor condenser coil, okay, and you have your indoor evaporator coil. Well, on a heat pump, during the switch of the cycle, so in the heating, the indoor unit becomes the condenser and the outdoor unit becomes the evaporator. Both of them still doing the same function. The evaporator absorbs heat, the condenser rejects heat. So by reversing the cycle in the wintertime, the condenser now goes inside and it rejects the heat inside. So it's an electric heat pump, okay? There's mystery behind them because a lot of people don't understand them, but it's really just a matter of reading about how they operate and understanding the sequence of operation, okay? It's not that big of a deal. My goodness, I just saw another super chat. J&J Services, thank you so very much for that super chat. You guys are, you know, amazing me with these super chats. Thank you very much. I'm very blessed. You do not have to do these, but thank you guys very much, okay? Since I've been in the trade for so long, what gets me excited now when doing calls? Anything challenging? I love doing service calls in general. I love fixing headaches and problems. Unfortunately, because I'm a business owner, oftentimes the headaches that I have to go fix end up being callbacks, so that's kind of frustrating. But I love fixing problems. So when I'm really stressed out at work, when I'm having a bad day, my stress reliever is to go run some service calls and go fix something. I love that. I love a good mystery call that challenges me. You know, I like working refrigeration and air conditioning. Heck, but there's even times that I just love to go do a good old PM and just grab some condenser coil cleaner and wash coils and make the systems operate, you know, a million times better from when I got there. So I just like working in general. My least favorite part of the job is actually running the business. Running the business is my least favorite, and my favorite part is just working with customers and fixing things. Connor Spangler, dude, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. That's amazing. So you're a computer engineer And you never deal with HVACR, but I don't have to be for free. But I do. Oh, thank you, bud. He's basically thanking me for posting these videos. I just like to share the little bit of knowledge that I have. I grew up in the trade. I learned from an old school mechanic. I learned a lot of great fundamentals that I built my career on. And I was never taught by anybody that was afraid to share their knowledge. But I have heard and met a lot of people that guard their knowledge and covet it and don't share it. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, and the whole point of these videos is to share those mistakes in hopes that you guys don't make the same mistakes as I do. So I'm not going to charge for that kind of service. I mean, I just put it here on YouTube. And sure, YouTube generates a little bit of revenue for me, and I'm thankful for that. But I mean, the whole point of these videos really was, it started out as they were videos for my own employees. I started this channel and just shared them privately within my employees. It's like, hey, this is how we do things. And then when I made them public, it just kind of grew, and here we are 3 years later. It just kind of turned into this machine. But thank you so very much for the nice words. Do I ever work on chillers or high-pressure boilers? No, Junior, I do not. Sorry, bud. All right. What else do we got in here? What software do I use for invoice and bookkeeping? AirPro Heating and Air. So I use an older software made by Corrigo. It is called Intuit Field Service Management. It's an older software that does dispatching. You can do timesheets. You can do invoicing, work orders. It doesn't do proposals very well. It's definitely not one of these all-inclusive softwares that does, all these weird things, and it's not a crazy loaded program. It's not ridiculously expensive. You do pay in blocks per user, so I think you get like 2 users for one price, and then every additional user costs you an extra $100 a month or whatever it is. But Intuit Field Service Management, I'm in so deep with that program. I get phone calls from all these big giant companies asking me, hey, try ours. And it's like, I'm in so deep with mine, I don't ever want to change. It just works for me. Personally, I'm such a small company, we don't use the dispatching side of the program. So we just field dispatch, meaning the service call comes into my phone and I just call a technician and say, hey, create a work order. You need to head out here or something like that. So, and my guys can get into our software and create whatever work orders we need to do. So let me see what else we got in here. Let me see. Oh, cool. Right on. Let me see what else. What do we got in here? I already answered that question. Have I ever worked on a freeze-thaw chamber? No, I've never worked on a freeze-thaw chamber. I've never done much scientific work. I've done the tiniest bit when I worked in a hospital for a while, but nothing. Never worked on a freeze-thaw chamber. I've worked on a few blast chillers in big, giant industrial kitchens, but, nothing like a freeze-thaw chamber, no. Let me see. Does YouTube tax it or 1099? No, YouTube does not tax you. They 1099 you. So you have to be careful about that kind of stuff, because YouTube revenue just comes to you in the form of a check, and then at the end of the year, you owe a nice, pretty bill to the government. So would I quote a new disconnect with an RTU install? Yes, I definitely would. There's certain things when I'm quoting. If I'm quoting a new condensing unit and evaporator, I'm more than likely going to put a whole new electrical service at the unit, disconnect switch. I'm more than likely going to put new temperature controllers, new refrigeration line set. So there's certain things that you're going to do. If you change a condenser fan motor, you're typically going to change a capacitor with it too. Just kind of user best practices. Of course, I mean, if the customer said we don't want to disconnect, then certainly I wouldn't put a disconnect in there. But we always try to quote everything like that accordingly. So let me see what else. Answered that one. All right. What is the worst voltage that I've been stung by? I have never been stung or shocked by anything more essentially than 120 volts or one leg of 208, which is 120 volts. I've been fortunate in that matter. I've never been stung by 277, which is one leg of 480 basically. No, never been stung by that. So, ever worked on blast chillers? Yes, I have worked on blast chillers, a few of them. The blast chillers that I have worked on have been frustrating because most of them have been manufactured in other countries, so it makes it hard to get technical support and to get parts. A lot of them were like French blast chillers. I'm trying to think. There was a couple that were French, and then I think there might have been one German or something like that I worked on. It was like in this industrial kitchen, and they were a pain in the butt just to get parts. So Holy moly. All right, cool. You guys, these super chats, I'm blown away. I see the ones that came in. Thank you very much. How often do I get service calls on the marginally sized rack? I get service calls on those quite often, basically. My restaurant customers keep me pretty busy. So their racks, they keep me pretty busy. Usually a lot of refrigerant leaks and stuff like that. So let me see what else. What drives the frequency of cleaning condensers? Is it typically just the frequency of rainfall? You realize grease would be compounding factor. Ryan, for us, rainfall is very minimal. Currently, right now, it's been raining all day long here in Southern California. This is probably the most significant rainfall we've had this entire year. I think we might have had 1 or 2 days of rain where we had short bursts of rain, but I mean, my streets are flooded right now. And it probably will do this 2 or 3 times next year too. We don't get rainfall here very much. So condensers are typically going to be dust. California is basically a giant desert, especially Southern California. So there's a lot of dust in the air. When I park my car, I'm in the Inland Empire. When I park my personal truck out in front of my house, I don't drive it very often because I'm working all the time. It basically gets driven maybe once a week, if not once every 2 weeks. And it's usually covered in dust just from sitting out in front of my house. It's just in the air. And then as far as condensers on restaurants and things like that, grease is a big factor. The grease is being exhausted from the hood systems, and oftentimes the hood systems are not designed properly, so the grease is not getting above the canopy and it's falling back down onto the roof and getting sucked into condensers and stuff. Certainly, if restaurants talk to the HVAC service technicians before they designed them, they could certainly design them better to where grease would never become a factor. But hey, it keeps me busy, so I just kind of keep my mouth shut. So let me see what else. Connor Spangler, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. So you're asking, what is my mental flow chart when troubleshooting HVACR? It's gonna start basic. So I'm gonna walk up to a service call. Okay, I'm walking up to a walk-in freezer service call. I'm climbing. When I walk in the restaurant, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and talk with the manager. I'm going to have a discussion with them. What's going on? What did you hear? When did it happen? How long has it been going on? Did you notice this? I'll just start asking them questions. Did you notice any funny sounds? Did you notice this? That just kind of get a general idea that gives me a ballpark, okay? Then I'm going to go into the walk-in freezer and look at the evaporator. Are the fans running? Is there ice on the back of the evaporator coil? I'm going to walk up onto the roof. Is the condensing unit running? Is the compressor running? Or all the fan motors running? I'm just kind of doing a visual inspection. And then from that point forward, I'm going to go through in my head and think of the sequence of operation. So on a typical walk-in freezer, the box temperature rises. The temperature controller turns a solenoid valve on. The system opens a solenoid valve, lets the refrigerant flow through. The gas goes through the liquid line up to the roof. Through the suction line up to the roof, turns the system on. So understanding the sequence of operation is going to go a lot into how I'm troubleshooting. Excuse me. I'm going to just basically go through the sequence of operation, and then I'll get out my meter and I'll start troubleshooting. So once I've gone through a visual inspection and listened to everything, I'll get out my meter and start testing electrical. Okay, listening to things, looking at pressure controls. Is this happening? Is that happening? Then after I do electrical, if that doesn't get me anywhere, or if I deem that there's an open pressure control or something like that, then I'm going to put my service gauges on the system and look at the refrigerant pressures and watch it operate after that. So typically it's going to go a visual and audible inspection, then it's going to go an electrical inspection, then it's going to go refrigerant gauges, test the system operations after that. That's going to be my basic flow chart, and that's going to go for air conditioning, refrigeration, anything like that. It's going to start with your visual and their audible inspection, then go electrical, then go apply service gauges. Applying service gauges to most refrigeration systems is kind of the last thing you want to do for the most part. So hopefully that answers your question for you, bud. Let me see. Refrigeration and kitchen EQ tech. No, I did not say if I did that compressor yet on Sunday. I did have a service call with a bad compressor Saturday evening. I'm not going to comment on what happened with it because there's going to be a video coming soon. And let's just say I kind of teased this earlier. I've only had this happen one other time where it worked out this way. So it's very interesting. Stay tuned. You'll see the video when it comes. Have I seen contactors smoking in the past? Yeah, certainly. I've seen contactors lose the smoke right in front of me, burn up, short out, all kinds of things like that, for sure. Service techs have to be detectives as well. Ask the customer the same questions more than once in a different format. And that's very true. Oftentimes, let's just say, okay, let's say that I suspect the customer did something wrong. Like I go to a walk-in cooler and I find that it's iced up. My first thing that pops in my head if I have an iced up walk-in cooler evaporator coil is they probably left the door open. Okay. So I'm not going to go to the customer and say, did you leave the door open? Because they're always going to say no. Okay. But you go to the customer and you start investigating and ask questions, making your way to that question. Okay. Have them answer it or tell you, hey, when did this happen? Did you notice anything? Have you noticed like any dripping coming from the evaporator? Did you notice that it got really cold before the temperature went way high? Have you noticed that, you know, the cooks are having a hard time closing the door? Kind of work your way to that question. Okay. Because they're never just going to say, yeah, we messed up. You know, or yeah, we left the door open, you know, and then sometimes too, I like to always communicate with the manager on site, but occasionally if there's a cook that it seems like he's confident and knows how the kitchen runs, I'll go ask the cooks questions too. As long as the manager isn't upset with that, just kind of ask the cooks, you guys been seeing him leave the door open? Have you? Oh yeah, we see it all the time. You know, it kind of gives you an idea where to go, but I always do that investigation with management first. So, my gosh, my phone is blowing up with emails right now. Good grief. What else we got here? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. The customer just emailed me on that water leak, and they said they're going to get the roofer out first before. So, all right. What size dryer type should be used for a Carrier 3.5 ton residential system, and can you use a sight glass? Kevin Schmidt. So a sight glass is a window into the system. It's certainly not going to hurt on a residential system, but there's really, it's not something that's critical or needed on a residential system. I might install a sight glass on my system just because I'm curious what the state of the refrigerant is, but it's not like on a refrigeration system where you're going to use a sight glass to charge your residential system. So it's certainly not needed at all. What size dryer for a 3.5 ton system is you're going to need to look at the manufacturer of the dryer. So I don't have a Sporlan box right here, but Sporlan dryers have their capacity listed on the box. So basically each dryer is going to be a different size capacity for the tonnage or the horsepower of the compressor. So you want to pay attention to each manufacturer. If a 3.5 ton system though, you're probably going to end up with like an 8 cubic inch dryer, at the maximum a 16 cubic inch dryer. Nothing bigger than that, unless you got a really dirty system and you need to clean it up. Then you might go to a 30 cubic inch, but that'd be pretty extreme. So more than likely an 8 cubic inch or possibly a 16. Like a 16 is kind of extreme too for a 3.5 ton system. So am I going to go live on an actual service calls anymore? It really depends. See, I can't predict service calls. If I ever get an opportunity, yeah, I'll definitely go live again. But right now, I'm limited on videos, and so live service calls take away from videos. So, and live service calls are actually rather difficult for me too. So, but yeah, I will eventually. It's just not something I can plan. So. All right. How many service technicians do I have? I'm a very small company, 4 service techs, including myself, and I'm out in the field every single day. So I have 3 other techs besides me. Let me see what else we got going on in here. On cool, most moist California days like today, how do package units handle or prevent filling the interior space with too much humidity? Yeah, that's definitely a concern when we have basically 100% humidity outside right now because it's raining, right? And, you know, if we still call for cooling, which is possible, well, it's not really going to happen unless you're like in a data center or a mechanical room right now, because most restaurants out there don't have people in the occupied space. You know, we will have kitchen ACs running, but it definitely will make it more humid in the kitchen. You know, if they have proper economizers, the economizers are probably going to close down and they're just going to condition the indoor air. Yeah, we really don't have humidity problems here per se though, because normally our humidity levels are anywhere from 6% to 20% is pretty extreme for us. We don't hit anything over that usually unless it's raining. So, but it gets kind of balmy or sticky inside some restaurants, you know, especially if they're crowded restaurants and it's raining outside. Yeah, it'll get sticky in there. It's definitely something we have to work on. And here in California, typically too, our fans are ran in the on position during occupied. So the indoor fans are running all the time, which will cause higher humidity levels too. So it's something we have to deal with. All right, let's see what else. Do I dispatch last? As in I take, what do you mean dispatch last? So I try to keep my guys busy, if that's what you're asking. But I mean, if it's a technical service call, I'm going to jump on it, like a really difficult one. I'm going to jump on it before I dispatch it to another guy. But in times like right now, yeah, like today, I didn't work out in the field. I have one guy off because he wasn't feeling good, and I had 2 guys working. So I had one of my guys ran 2 service calls today, and then another guy and started a maintenance, and then another guy did a maintenance all day long. So we're definitely in our slow season right now, for sure. So how often do I have issues with unlabeled breakers, thermostats, or equipment? Derek Lindsay, in in restaurant service, that is like a #1 thing, is nothing is labeled and you have to go through everything. Trying to find breakers, it's a pain in the butt. If it's a restaurant that I take care of regularly, which most of my restaurants are, I try to, on initial visits, make sure that they understand before we start any preventative maintenance programs or anything like that, they need to give me time to properly label all their equipment, and I'll go through and have another technician downstairs, and we'll turn breakers on and off and label everything, because it's a pain in the butt. So whenever I do get into a situation where nothing is labeled, I'll typically try to bring another service technician with me. That seems to be the easiest way, and just start shutting things off and testing to see what breakers control what thermostats control what, that kind of stuff. So Ian, or you have a new evaporator to hang and the pipes exit the opposite side of the existing one. Any reason why you shouldn't run the line set inside the room to utilize the existing penetration? No, there's no reason at all. I have done it both ways. If I have to, I will certainly come out the coil and go behind the coil and then go up the existing penetration. I've certainly done that many times. It definitely makes it a little bit more difficult when you go to defrost an evaporator coil, because when the ice falls down, it hits the line set and gets stuck. So, but if I'm changing out a coil completely, you know, if I can, I'm going to re-drill new holes. But if not, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to service. That's all. So nothing wrong with it though. Connor Spangler, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. I really appreciate it. You said Merry Christmas and thanks again. What would I have done differently if I were an HVACR tech in some humid state like Hilton Head, and what is the biggest professional mistake I've ever made? If I was an HVAC tech in a hot environment like that, that's really humid, obviously I wouldn't be wearing long sleeve shirts and undershirts all day long. I don't think anything would change about my service. I mean, I'd still be wearing pants to work and boots and all that stuff. You just get used to the climate, really. What's the biggest mistake I've ever made? Send me an email on that one, Connor, because it would take me a little while to think of the biggest mistake, but I can definitely cover that on another live stream. So send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com and ask me that question, and I'll try to answer it on the next live stream. Definitely throw your guys' questions in caps lock. I'll try to get to it. Let me see what else we got in here. Any thoughts on the Testo smart probes? So I personally never use the Testo probes. I've heard negative things and positive things about them. I'm a Fieldpiece person myself. Between Fieldpiece and Testo, I know for a fact that Fieldpiece has a better range. And I'm super impressed with Fieldpiece's customer service. Whenever there is a problem with their tools, they tend to be really cool and take care of you. So I'm a Fieldpiece fan. So I can't say anything bad about Testo. The only thing that I do know that is a negative about them is their products do not have as good of a range as the Fieldpiece JobLink probes. Does Jack Black look popular with or without facial hair? Popular? I don't know. All right. Don't know where you're going with that one, bud. That one caught me off guard. Let's see what else we got in here. Onus, thank you so very much for that super sticker. Wow, you guys are amazing me with these super chats and these super stickers. Thank you so very much. Wow. Hey, before I forget, I think it's official. I'm probably going to hose myself on this one, but I think it's official. We are going to have an HVAC overtime show on New Year's Eve. So hopefully I didn't step on everybody's toes right now. That's the plan. It may change, but if that there's the link to the overtime channel right now. Definitely go subscribe. So tentatively, unless something else changes, we are going to be live on the HVAC overtime channel on the normal time on Friday, New Year's Eve. So Or wait, or is it New Year's Day? Whatever Friday is. I don't know what it is. I think it's New Year's Day. I think we're going to be live on the overtime show. Yeah, I think it's New Year's Day. Whatever Friday is. All right, let's see what else. Made me regret buying your Testo smart probes a week ago. No, Brent, don't regret them. You can still use the Testo smart probes with Measure Quick. They still work great. Don't regret it, bud. They're still good probes. I don't want to talk crap about people's products. So, all right, let's see what else. They don't cover warranty ranges like 6 feet. Okay, so, yeah, shoot. Is it New Year's Eve? I'm looking at my phone. Is it New Year's Eve or New Year's Day on Friday? The HVAC overtime, it's going to be New Year's Day, guys. Not New Year's Eve. New Year's Day. We're going live on New Year's Day, Friday. The HVAC overtime channel, not New Year's Eve. I don't know what I was thinking there. The overtime show isn't on Thursday. Sorry about that. All right, let me see what else. Balance port TXV versus conventional TXV. Well, definitely balance port for sure. You have a broader range, and it works better with pressure differential problems, okay? So I prefer a balance port for, whenever possible, basically. How is that ICP system at that restaurant? Don't know which one you're talking about, bud. Maybe the one that has the bad ductwork. It's never been fixed, and it's still running, if that's the one you're asking about. Let me see what else we got in here. You've been watching that ICP system. You're sure you have it solved, but how is that? I think you're talking about the one with the bad ductwork, and it's still operating just like that. But all right, let me see what else we got in here. Yeah, thanks so much for the super chats, guys. This is amazing. Do me a favor, guys. Smash the thumbs up button. It really does help out the stream. We have 370 people watching right now, and we have 201 likes. So please smash the like button. Just hit the thumbs up. If you're on your mobile phone, just hit the back button and hit the thumbs up. If you're on a computer, it's really easy. If you're on your TV, you can actually do it too. If you have a smart TV, you just hit like the back button or down button or something. You can hit the thumbs up. Definitely helps out the stream. So let's put some more questions in the chat, and I'll try to get to them for you guys. Yeah, we'll all be drunk or hungover HVACR Texas. That's true. I'm not going to get drunk on New Year's. We're going to be spending it at home with my kids, so I might have a beer or two, but basically at my house, I got to be honest with you, we're going to be dodging bullets. I live next to some dodgy neighborhoods. So to be honest with you, it's like a dang freaking fire fest outside. Tersh, thank you very much for that super chat, man. You did not have to do that, Tersh. Service Emperor, thank you very much, man. You guys in these super chats are amazing. Thank you guys very much. Holy moly. Appreciate that, Tersh. Thank you. But yeah, my house, New Year's Eve and 4th of July, man, you just basically stay in the house because all you hear is gunshots outside. People just shooting their stupid guns in the air. They're a bunch of dummies. And it's one thing if you lived out in the country or out in the desert where there's nobody, but we're talking house on house on house on house, and people are outside shooting their guns. It's not really in my neighborhood, but it's within a half a mile from my neighborhood for sure. So Testos are entry-level probes. They're great for people getting into the electronic gauges and probes. You want to try them out with us. But yeah, definitely a good idea, Young Mafia, for sure. Tersh, again, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for that super chat, bud. You did not have to do that, but thank you. Let me see. You save a crap load of firecrackers for New Year's. Yeah. People are just nuts. It's funny because like my wife, she'll go outside and she'll be like, is that firecrackers? And I go, no, sweetie. Firecrackers don't go, dun, 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 dun. No, they don't make those sounds. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Is Bill more popular with or without facial hair? I have no idea, bud. Yeah, people are crazy shooting guns in the air around me. All right. Changing a compressor in the snow. That's one thing that I got to give you guys props because I've never worked in snow. I've never had to walk on a roof. I could only imagine with 12 inches of snow and having to break my damn ankle on a gas line that's below the snow. Like I'd only imagine if it's soft snow and you're stepping down and tripping on crap or slipping. I got to give you guys some serious props because I wouldn't know what to do. But at the same time, you guys probably couldn't work in 120 degree. But I mean, it's just something that I'm used to. I'm used to working in the heat. You guys are, I guess, I don't know if you can ever get used to working in the snow though, but that sounds crazy. So got to give you guys props. I hit the over for the Coke nose. It was 12. That's funny. All right. Let me see what we got here. I think that was already... What the hell? Yeah, I think that was already taken care of. Let's go into here. Let me see. Remove that person. Cool. Let me go ahead and I don't know what's going on in the chat right now, but someone's being a jerk right now. Let me go ahead and remove him. Taken care of there. Okay, cool. What else do we got in here? What am I missing? What goes up must come down. Exactly. Don't shoot off guns. You may kill someone. Exactly. People are nuts. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being on the roof in 24 inches of snow. All right. Well, it is that time. I've pretty much run out of topics. I really, really appreciate you guys coming in here. I am going to go ahead and cue up the outro music. Do me a favor if you guys are around on New Year's Day. We do plan to be live on the HVAC Overtime channel. I really, really appreciate you guys. I do plan on posting another video this week, hopefully Thursday. So thank you guys very much. If I missed any of your questions, feel free to send me an email at hvacrvideos@gmail.com. And I want to say a special thank you to TrueTechTools.com and Fieldpiece Instruments for working with me for the videos project that I did where I gave away a bunch of tools. They really, really helped out and were able to help me increase the amount of tools that I could purchase for people. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And we will catch you guys on the next one. If I can cue up this outro like that, like that. Yo, so I was on the overtime show over the weekend, and I was busy, so I didn't get to really do the whole gift exchange. But my buddy Adam and my buddy Bill, you know, we're all sending each other gifts just as like a funny thing, right? And Adam sent me this gift that's pretty ridiculous. So it's called the Pooping Pooches Calendar, okay? And it's 12 months of dogs taking a crap. That literally every month I get to see a different dog taking a dump in a pretty scene or whatever. Like what that's a pretty funny gift, Adam. Seriously. So you guys get to see all the dogs taking dumps too. You know what I should do? Oh, it would probably be a copyright thing, but I should make these my thumbnails for every live stream. Seriously. Like what the heck? What kind of a calendar is this? A bunch of dogs taking dumps. It's pretty funny, though. Poop and pooches. Thanks, Adam. Really appreciate it. All right. Really, really appreciate you guys. Again, I'm going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. But yeah, that was pretty funny, man. All right. I'm going to cue this up, and we will catch you guys on the next one.